why they got that.
Exactly.
Because it was unaddressed.
Another. Well, did I answer that? Answer that for you?
Yeah, because the Levirate law would not apply otherwise.
Right.
Yeah. Just to comment on his question.
Para comentar en su pregunta.
Joseph knew that it wasn't his child, which is why he was trying to go to the courts to get her to get divorced.
Excellent. Stop. Excellent. Let me think about that. Okay. So say that again. Say that again.
Joseph knew that it wasn't his child, which is why he was trying to secretly.
Joseph sabía que ese no era su hijo, porque es por eso que él secretamente quería, estaba buscando el divorcio.
Put her away.
Yes.
Excellent. So in other words, in order to raise up a child so that Joseph's name be not erased in Israel,
entonces para levantar una
those other children had to come from Joseph's other brother, younger brother, or else Joseph's name would have been erased.
El nombre de Joseph tenía que ser recordado y se tenía que levantar simiente por causa de él.
Which is why also in the
lo cual es la razón por la cual
Talmud, they even knew that Yeshua wasn't Joseph's child, which is why they call Yeshua a bastard. So if Joseph knew, he was trying to do this quietly, so his brother knew that it wasn't his Joseph's child.
Que Yeshua no era hijo de Joseph, por eso lo llamaban un bastardo.
But you see what the translators who took out Yahuwah's name.
Pero ven lo que hicieron los traductores para quitar el nombre de Yahweh.
And instead they put in Lord.
Y en lugar pusieron
the same ones.
Pusieron Señor, son los mismos
who changed Alpheus
que cambiaron Alpheus
to Cleopas.
A Cleopas.
Why?
¿Por qué?
They have to protect
Tienen que proteger
the doctrine
la doctrina
that after Yeshua was born,
que después de que nació Yeshua,
Mary was sinless.
Miriam no tenía pecado,
didn't need to have sex,
no tenía que tener relaciones sexuales,
and died as a virgin.
Y murió como virgen.
If they don't protect that,
si no protegen eso,
the whole church system collapses.
El sistema de la iglesia entero colapsa.
So what better way?
Entonces, ¿qué mejor manera
to perpetrate the myth
para seguir con ese mito
that Mary was a perpetual virgin,
que Miriam era una virgen perpetua,
than to change
que cambiar
her second husband
a su segundo esposo
who already had a wife,
quien ya tenía una esposa,
Matthew's father,
el papá de Matitiao,
and to change that
y de cambiar eso
to a Greek name.
A un nombre griego.
It's like changing Yahuwah
es como cambiar el nombre de Yahweh
into the New Testament.
En el Nuevo Testamento.
Kurios.
A Kurios.
Kurios means Lord.
Kurios quiere decir
same thing. They
Señor.
took the Hebrew name Yahweh,
tomaron el nombre Yahweh,
changed it,
y lo cambiaron
into Kurios.
A Kurios.
The same ones who changed
Los
that,
mismos que cambiaron eso,
changed Alpheus,
cambiaron a Alpheus,
to Cleopas.
A Cleopas.
Toto.
This question has to do with.
Excuse me. Did you find anything on Cleopas? Because I would have it there under a Q. Instead of a C, it would probably be, in the Restoration Scriptures, would be a Q rather than a C. Go ahead, Darryl.
Right. This talks about Yohanan.
Esto habla de Yohanan,
the beloved. Now,
el apreciado.
On the tree of sacrifice,
en el árbol de ofrecimiento,
Yeshua looks to both of them.
Yeshua ve a ambos
as he's going home to be with his father.
Cuando se va a irse con su papá.
And he tells the woman,
y le dice a la mujer,
woman, behold your son.
Mujer, he aquí a tu hijo.
He tells Yohanan, behold your mother.
Y le dice a Yohanan, he aquí a tu mamá.
Now I know that Yohanan was a replacement because Yeshua is that merciful and loving to us that he's not going to come here, do his assignment, leave that lady without an heir. Now, where does this place John? Is John one of these brothers now?
Absolutely not.
En lo absoluto que no.
How do we know?
¿Cómo sabemos
because
eso?
Yohanan and Yaakov,
porque Yohanan y Jacob,
another Yaakov,
otro Jacob,
Yaakov the lesser,
Jacob el menor,
are the sons of Zabdi,
son los hijos de Zabdi,
or Zebedee. Therefore, Zebedee and Alpheus
por lo tanto, Zebedee y
are different
Alpheus son
I understand that.
Papás.
But at the tree, when the union was made,
Pero en
Didn't that somewhat nullify John's participation? Because it said from the very hour, Johanna took Miriam into his home.
Okay. Now that doesn't mean that Miriam, I see what you're saying, left Cleopas to go be with John. That could mean that he was to look after her. In other words,
dejó a Cleopas para irse a vivir con Yohanan.
In other words,
en otras palabras,
you've taken me into your home.
Usted me ha tomado en su casa.
Right, and I've taken you into my home.
Y yo lo he tomado a
So
usted a
it was
mi
more
casa.
about look after my mom.
Entonces se trata más
It wasn't
de
so much.
ver por mi mamá.
It wasn't so much leave your husband.
No era tanto dejar a su esposo.
And come stay with me.
Y venga a quedar conmigo.
So John was not added to the family.
Entonces Yohanan no fue agregado a.
Because to me, if you look at the scripture.
No, hold it. No. Yohanan was appointed a caretaker.
Yohanan fue apuntado como un cuidador, no un esposo.
Okay.
In other words, he was a caretaker, like a son looking out like a mother.
Era una persona que cuidaba como hijo a su mamá.
That was a caretaking responsibility.
Esa era una responsabilidad de cuidador.
That was not any other kind of responsibility.
No era
it was not a
otro tipo de
biological son
no era un hijo
or
biológico.
indicating that Mary didn't have another husband.
O indicando que Miriam no tenía
There's no
un
way
esposo.
she had to have another husband because she had too many children.
Correct.
For Joseph to do that in 1 year.
Correct.
Give Chris a microphone, please.
Denle un micrófono a Chris, por favor.
Matityahu, chapter 27.
Matityahu 27,
And verse 56.
versículo 56.
One second. Okay.
Among them were Miriam from Magdala,
Entre ellas estaba Miriam de Magdala
and Miriam the Ima of Yaakov and Yosef,
y Miriam la mamá de Jacob y Yosef,
and also the Ima of Zabdi's children.
el cual la mamá de los hijos de Zabdi.
So clearly,
Entonces claramente
she was the mother
ella igual era la mamá
not only of Yeshua,
no solo de Yeshua,
by the father of Yosef,
a través del papá de Yosef,
but also the mother
pero igual la mamá
of Yaakov
de
and
Jacob
Yosef,
y Yosef,
by the father of Zabdi.
a través de los papás de Zabdi.
What?
Perdón, los hijos de
By the father of Zabdi, by the father Zabdi.
por el papá llamado Zabdi.
She was the mother of
Ella era la mamá
Zabdi's children.
de los hijos de
So they
Zabdi.
were already.
No. There are many Miriams in the gospel.
Hay muchas Miriams en
And I can identify
el
them for you.
Evangelio. Se las puede
But it says here,
No, impossible. Because look, among them were Miriam from Magdala. That's one Miriam.
Correct.
Miriam, the Ima of Yaakov, and Yosef, that was the wife of Cleopas. That's Yeshua's mother.
Okay.
And also Ima of Zabdi's children. It's a third
They were
Ima.
cousins.
The third Ima was nameless. It's not Miriam.
But either way.
okay, well, let's turn.
Mm-hmm.
Vayamos. Aquí tenemos a Miriam de Magdala, a Miriam la mamá de Jacob y Yosef, y otra María, la mamá de Zabdi, de los hijos de Zabdi.
That's almost easier to do.
I think where did I lose my place? Yochanan Moshe,
En Yohanan Moshe o Marcos,
John?
chapter 16.
capítulo 16,
Okay.
No, chapter 15,
perdón, capítulo 15,
beginning in verse 40.
comenzando en el versículo 40.
Yes. Correct.
There were also women looking on far off, among whom was Miriam of Magdala,
Mm-hmm.
and Miriam the Ima of Yaakov the Lesser, and of Yosef and Shlomo.
Okay.
who also, when he was in Galilee, followed him and attended to him. And many other women who came up with him to Jerusalem. So, the many other women are mentioned at the end of that verse.
Y dice, y muchas otras
But the
mujeres se
mother,
mencionan al fin de ese versículo.
Miriam, the Ima of Yaakov the Lesser, and of Joseph and Shlomo.
Pero Miriam, la mamá de Jacob, el menor de Joseph y de Shlomo.
Yeah.
Well,
that was Miriam, the mother of Yeshua.
Esa era Miriam,
How
la
do we
mamá
know?
de Yeshua.
From
¿Cómo lo
others,
sabemos?
number one, from other scriptures.
Primero, de
Number
otras
two,
escrituras.
Shlomo is not a correct
Y
translation.
segundo, Shlomo no es una traducción
Yeshua had
correcta.
no brothers named Solomon.
Yeshua no tuvo fraternos llamados
Yeshua had no
Salomón.
brothers named Shlomo.
No tuvo ningún fraterno llamado
That
Shlomo.
Shlomo is actually a sister,
Este Shlomo es en realidad una
Salome.
fraterna llamada Salomé.
where we have the apocryphal Salome, where we have the apocryphal books, the odes of Salome.
De donde tenemos los libros apócrifas,
So-
las entonaciones de Salomé.
That would be, in my view, that would be Miriam, the mother of Yeshua, as well as the second wife of Cleopas, sister wife to Cleopas, his first wife. That would not contradict. There's no Zavdi connection there.
Entonces
The only,
aquí
the
vemos
only,
que esta es
the
Miriam,
only thing up for discussion in that case
la mamá de Yeshua y la esposa de Cleopas,
would be the
esposa fraterna de la esposa de Cleopas.
that you're dying. Switch the battery. That Yaakov, instead of just being Yaakov, would be Yaakov the Lesser. Yaakov the Lesser, or the Greater. That could be a term of humility. It could be a title that Matthew uses, Mark uses. It could be a whole bunch of different stuff. But there, I don't see a Zavdi connection there.
well, let's look at the final
Okay.
in Yochanan. Yochanan chapter 19.
Okay. Yep.
And verse 25.
Well, there you go. Yep.
Now there stood by the stake of Yeshua
Turn that off first. Turn that off, turn that on, and then turn that on. Go ahead.
Now there stood by the stake of Yeshua his Ima and his Ima's sister Miriam, the wife of Clopa.
Can you repeat the verse, please? I'm sorry.
1920, Yochanan 1925.
Yochanan 19:25.
En Yohanan 19:25.
Now there stood by the stake of Yeshua his Ima and his Ima's sister Miriam, the wife of Clopa, and Miriam from Magdala.
Ahí podemos leer,
I know what
y ahí estuvieron al lado del madero de Yeshua su mamá y la fraterna de su mamá, Miriam, la esposa de Clopa,
I know what you're
y
going to say.
Miriam de Magdala.
Okay, now if you look this up in the actual Aramaic or even the Greek,
Si buscan esto en el arameo actual o
the
en el
second part is a
griego,
qualification of the
la
first
segunda
part.
parte es una
It
cualificación
goes
de la
like
primera
this.
esposa.
There stood by the stake of Yeshua his Ima
Estuvieron ahí al lado del madero de Yeshua su mamá
and the sister.
y su fraterna.
What sister?
¿Qué fraterna?
The sister to Miriam,
La fraterna a
the
Miriam,
wife of Cleopas.
la esposa de
So it
Cleopas.
identifies that the Miriam standing at the stake
Entonces identifica que la Miriam que está al lado del
is
madero
not her sister Miriam.
no es su fraterna Miriam,
It is Miriam who is the wife. There were two Miriams.
sino que es Miriam quien era la esposa.
One is Miriam the sister,
Una es Miriam la
of the mother,
fraterna de la mamá
and one is Miriam the mother.
y la otra es Miriam la mamá.
To separate the two
Para
Miriams,
separar a las dos Miriams,
it says Miriam the sister
dice Miriam la fraterna
and Miriam the wife of Cleopas.
y Miriam
That's the way it
la
actually
esposa de
That's a good
Cleopas.
question. That's a good point.
Esa es una
But that's the way it
pregunta.
actually reads.
Y es así como se lee.
Okay? In other words, the author is trying to show you that there are many Miriams among the women.
En otras palabras, el autor le quiere enseñar que hay muchas Miriams entre las mujeres.
And in Yochanan 19:25,
Y en Yohanan 19:25